So I really want to show people here what a fucking awful scam the UK is, and the people behind it are essentially destroying our culture in its entirety and allowing anybody to sponge off the state. But, some of these things you're going to see quite nominally in a lot of governmental forms for pensions or, I guess, welfare or anything pertaining to education, as this form pertains to. But having been in this industry for well over a decade, I haven't seen what I'm about to show you past article with maybe 3.7 or 3.8. It's insane. The number of loopholes that they've created to allow people to get funding, in this instance for education, but I'm sure it correlates to every other sort of welfare system within the United Kingdom, without any logical grounds. It's like loophole after loophole after loophole. They've created a loophole to ensure that there is no way that people can't get welfare. And I've just got to show you, it's absolutely insane, right? So these ones are quite nominal. Are you an Irish citizen? No. I can let you read some of these, but, EU settlement scheme, blah, blah, blah. That's something that's relatively new in my lifetime, at least, but for sure didn't exist in the early 2000s or back in the late 90s for the most part. Swiss national, these have always been loopholes. And then we go down and there's Turkish worker status, whatever that actually means, who fucking knows. But then we start to get to the juicy stuff, of course, the new stuff. So we get the... have you or your family members been granted leave under the Afghan Relocations and Assistance Policy, or the Afghan Citizen Resettlement Scheme, or the Afghanistan Response Route? So 3 there. I'm sure you can just hop from one to the next if you get refused. Has your status not been granted under the EU settlement scheme? This is basically a loophole that if you're rejected from certain things, there is a route by which to get what you wanted in the first instance. Then we've got, of course, the Ukrainian thing, another loophole there. Are you part of the Ukrainian resettlement scheme? Refugee status, of course, which doesn't pertain to being Afghan or Turkish or Ukrainian, just a refugee. Have you been granted to remain as a stateless person? So you're not a refugee. You don't have a state, because that's how you choose to identify to get around the system. So now you have the opportunity to essentially get funding if you are a stateless person, which essentially encapsulates everyone if they so wish to lose their documents and state that they have absolutely no provable origin. Then we go down, of course, some more bureaucratic nonsense. Do you have leave to enter or remain in the UK following a failed application on the grounds of family or private life under the European Convention of Human Rights? So essentially, you apply for anything and you get rejected, and then you claim that you want to stay under the human rights grounds because you have private matters, family, discretional leave, blah, blah, blah. Have your husband or wife been granted humanitarian protection? So that essentially means that you could just go to any NGO and say, we want protection because blah, 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 and they're going to, of course, support you because that's the aim of the game. Then we go down. Have you been granted leave to remain in the UK under Section 67, whatever? Is it the Immigration Act, or have you been granted leave in line as a dependent child of someone who has? So I'm sure that's just another loophole in the system. Under that Act, no doubt there's a number of different ways to essentially stay in the UK. This one is new to me, as the other ones are, and they get more ridiculous. So please stay with this video. Have you been granted Calais leave in the UK, or have you been granted leave in line as a dependent child of someone who has Calais leave? What is that? I'm assuming these are people that are coming over on boats. Calais leave. I mean, what the bloody hell is Calais leave? I will Google it afterwards. I'm sure there is a possibility that what I'm saying is wrong, but all these do pertain to migration and unacceptable forms of migration as far as the general public, no doubt, would be concerned. Have you been granted indefinite leave to enter or remain in the UK as a victim of domestic violence? So that's basically every woman in most countries in the world would be considered for that indefinite leave to stay or to enter or remain in the UK under a domestic violence protocol. I mean, every woman in Afghanistan, many women in Central and Sub-Saharan Africa, many women anywhere in the world could claim that. So essentially any woman could claim that. No doubt men could as well, but they'd probably be rejected. But so that's what, how many billions of people that can claim that? Maybe 3.5, 4 billion people in the world. Have you been granted indefinite leave to enter or remain as a bereaved partner, or are you the child of someone who has so bereaved partner? So, my God. I mean, who could claim that? You could easily, I mean, how many people that are deceased then used once deceased as, partners, of individuals that are hoping to stay in the country? It's just fucking absurd. How do you prove any of this? There we go. How many, and then, sorry, and a thing that is unrelated to them, but is related to us as citizens. What proof of identity do you have? So me as a British citizen, I will have to provide my passport, which I've had to provide it for this document already, and numerous other methods of, examples of identity. And yet there are people on here that claim that they're stateless and have no identity. They're entitled to exactly the same loans for higher education. Absolutely absurd.